Right, well, welcome to the first regional briefing of the Community Grants Programme. And thanks for coming along today. And that's a horrible day. But we're very lucky today, or it's really good to be able to share with you that we've got Andrew Stunell, MP here, who's the Minister for Communities, and who's been really the person who's, if it wasn't for Andrew, I don't think we wouldn't be standing here talking about the Community Grants Programme, because when the Empty Homes Programme was conceived, it was a £100 million programme around getting empty properties back into use, and I'll talk a bit about that later on. But thanks to Andrew, we've now got a very exciting Community Grants Programme, and Andrew is going to talk to us about it and kick it off.
Well, thanks for that introduction. I'm not sure quite how I can live up to that, except to say that you wouldn't have a £100 million programme at all if we hadn't been pushing and shoving very hard in the Communities and Local Government Department to make sure that some of the affordable housing money allocated by the government was set aside to tackle empty homes. You don't need me to explain what the problem is. We have 235,000 new households formed each year. We are building probably about half that number of new homes, and yet we have in the order of 300,000 empty homes which have been empty for longer than 6 months, and that's discounting the ones which are just being bought and sold in the meantime. And so it would appear to be a very simple and easy way of matching supply up to demand to bring some of those empty homes back into use. So why is it so difficult? What needs to be done to unlock that? And that is the challenge which I gave to civil servants back in 2010 when I became the Minister with responsibility for delivering the government's empty home policy. That policy was taken into the government by the coalition agreement between the Liberal Democrats and the Conservatives, and for the avoidance of doubt, I'm a Liberal Democrat minister, so that you know that. And clearly it's also important to make sure that it's not a question of having a slogan, it's not a question of having some money, it's very sensible to have a programme which works and which is deliverable. Local authorities are, of course, the responsible housing authorities. Many of them do an excellent job. Some of them do take empty homes really seriously, but we still have quite evidently a problem which is not going away. And the government has moved to give local authorities an incentive to take empty homes more seriously. There's something called the New Homes Bonus, which applies to bringing an empty home back into use, and so local authorities have found in the last year that they're actually getting money when an empty home comes back into use in their area, and that is the equivalent of 6 years council tax in addition to the council tax they're getting for the empty home coming back in. So in effect, double council tax for 6 years comes to the local authority, and that's already proving to be if not a huge incentive, it's a mind changer for local authorities which are beginning to say, actually, why don't we spend a bit more time bringing empty homes back into use? And housing associations, obviously traditional, if you like, niche market providers of housing, some of them have been committed to doing empty homes for a while, but if you've got a good income stream, you'll do the easy stuff with your income stream, and so often empty homes are the hard bit which doesn't get done, doesn't get tackled so vigorously. So we've got the £100 million. It's being administered by the Homes and Communities Agency, and that's when the civil servants pointed out to me that there's a problem with that, because the Homes and Communities Agency can only disperse money to registered providers, in other words to housing associations which are registered and to councils. And that means that small community and social enterprise organisations wouldn't be able to get hold of that money. And that's why we said, okay, we're not going to allocate all of that £100 million through the conventional top-down route. We're going to have a good share of that money available for use through small community, social enterprise and voluntary organisations. And I have to say there was some teeth-sucking back in the official part of the machinery, because it hasn't been done before. That's obviously a big downer. Nobody knows who these organisations are. That's a big downer. How would we manage the money? How would we supervise it? How would we know? You can imagine. So what we've now got is the Empty Homes Community Grants Programme, up to potentially £30 million available, and this is the first of the opportunities there is to bring together people, organisations who are interested in tackling this. And of course, as is so often the case, if you sit behind a desk in Whitehall, you can think of all the reasons why it can't be done, all the difficulties, but as soon as you go out, you find there are already people doing this stuff, and in some cases succeeding very, very well. And some have got, of course, a huge long-term record of doing stuff. Some of you will know about Gyroscope, which has been going since 1985. Called because a group of students put their gyro checks together and started on a process of improving and operating. Phases, Bill for B for Box, all sorts of organisations are there already, and you, of course, are the opportunity to, some of you are those people, but there are many other initiatives and many other opportunities existing, and I just want to make sure all of those things have their day in the sun and the opportunity to deliver. I would say that there's something else in this as well, and a lot of these schemes, a lot of your schemes will be doing, will be ticking all sorts of boxes, doing multiple things. Very often there are opportunities to bring training to bear with the people that you use to do that. Certainly education and training is a dimension which I'm sure many of the schemes will encompass when they roll forward. Of course, it's getting accommodation for people, sometimes unconventional accommodation. I was hearing about studio flats in the East End just a few minutes ago. Sometimes it's niche market provision, and sometimes it's going to be mainstream provision. The money we set aside is from our affordable homes budget, and that does mean that we want the homes that you deliver to be available for affordable use. And I recognise that that is a constraint, and in some areas of the country it may be more of a constraint than others. We have got a second programme with £50 million in it, which is not as well developed, where we haven't quite got our criteria sorted out, where we've still got some more teeth sucking to do to see how that works. But this is the Affordable Homes Programme, and we accept that it's not going to be the answer to everything, everywhere, immediately. Anyway, just do the sums. We're trying to get something over 200,000 empty homes into use. You won't do that with £100 million. We're looking for ways, for models which will be able to be scalable and replicable and deliverable. But actually, in the first instance, what we want is more empty homes, and as they say on the protest marches, we want them now. So we're very much looking for you to use your innovative skills, your existing models, your imagination, to work together with each other, to find partners to work with, maybe housing associations, certainly to be developing and building partnerships with the local authorities in the areas where you work. What we want to do is, well, provide you with the money, yes, provide you with support and expertise where you need it, and make sure that there is a proper mechanism for delivery, which means that the auditors and the teeth suckers will be happy at the end of the day, which is why we've appointed a managing organisation, Tribal, in order to steer us through that. I think actually that's about as much as I want to say. There's just one thing which is certainly my observation about ministers. I spent a lot of years in opposition as a Liberal Democrat, you obviously do, and I very often attended this sort of event, and ministers came in, made their speeches and breezed out, and you never saw them again, and what was all that about? Well, on this occasion I'm making my speech and I'm breezing out, but you will see me again, because we are absolutely determined to make sure that we finally have a a national policy which delivers on empty homes, and I'm absolutely clear that the community programme we've got is a vital part of that, which will be really important in achieving our aims. And I've already given notice to various people, whenever I can find them, that I know where you live, I'm watching what you do, and I want to see some real results at the end of the day. And on that cheerful note, I think I want to hand over to John and do exactly what I said, breeze out to my next engagement. Thank you very much indeed.